A black cat about the size of a medium dog appears high on a statue and makes its way down backwards. The people gathered around it supposedly approach one by one and kiss it on the rear. And that's only part of the ritual. There's also a giant toad, an emaciated man with black eyes, whose kiss is described as ice cold, and a meal before the cat appears. Have a seat. You know how people think black cats are unlucky? I always figured there was a reason, so I went looking. Turns out I found about 6, and none of them quite hold up. This isn't a modern horror story pretending to be medieval. It comes from a real papal document issued under Pope Gregory IX in 1233. The document is called Vox in Rama, and that black cat is one reason it still gets dragged into explanations for why black cats are unlucky. The popular version goes like this. Gregory declares cats satanic. Europe starts killing them. With fewer cats around, rats multiply. Their fleas spread plague. And a little more than a century later, the Black Death arrives as a brutally tidy consequence. It's an almost perfect explanation. One villain, one terrible decision, one poetic punishment. Except, Vox in Rama never tells anyone to kill a cat. The cat is real. The cat-killing order isn't. So how did a black cat inside an accusation of devil worship become evidence for a much bigger claim, where a pope declares war on cats and accidentally helps unleash the Black Death? Behind Vox in Rama was Conrad of Marburg, a priest, preacher, and papal inquisitor in Germany. He wasn't some random weirdo with no influence. Pope Gregory trusted him. In 1231, Gregory substantially expanded Conrad's authority to pursue and judge alleged heretics. By 1233, Conrad's campaign was running into resistance. He and allied churchmen reported that a horrifying new Luciferian sect had appeared, supposedly reaching into powerful circles. Rome responded with support. Vox in Rama was part of that response. The bizarre ritual in Vox was evidence against alleged heretics. Its actual commands were directed at them. Suddenly, the giant Satan cat is sitting inside an accusation backed by real power. Did Conrad actually discover a secret cult whose initiation ceremony involved a corpse-like man, a giant toad, and a backwards-moving cat? The cat, at least, wasn't new. Around 1180, decades before Vox in Rama, the writer Walter Map was already describing supposed heretics worshipping the devil in the form of a black cat, and giving it the same obscene kiss. Cat worship accusations went back even further. Religious art had already connected cats with heresy before 1233. There's even an earlier story from the Rhine region in which the devil appears as a white cat, about the size of a dog, covered in bird feathers. Medieval demonology was apparently still testing prototypes. Meanwhile, ordinary medieval cats were still ordinary cats. They caught mice, they lived around people. The demonic symbol and the useful household mouser could exist at the same time. So the supposedly new Satan cat was already old. That makes the rest of Conrad's supposedly new cult harder to take at face value. Modern historian František Novotný describes Conrad's alleged Luciferian sect as an imaginary devil-worshipping sect, or a kind of phantasm assembled from older anti-heretical ideas. That doesn't prove Conrad knowingly invented every allegation. What reached Rome may not have been a reliable description of an actual religion. Novotny's interpretation is that familiar accusations had been reorganized into a much more frightening enemy. Conrad's campaign produced an uncertain number of executions. Whatever those accused people actually believed or practiced, authorities could punish them based on allegations like these. The ritual may have been constructed. The consequences were not. Then Conrad accused someone with enough power to fight back. Henry, Count of Zine, was accused of heresy. He defended himself, and the case against him failed before an ecclesiastical council. The council told Conrad to moderate his zeal. He kept going. He continued campaigning against nobles. On July 30th, 1233, while traveling back toward Marburg, Conrad was murdered. The evidence we have doesn't show that Henry ordered it. Conrad lasts only weeks after Vox and Rama. His cat has a much better survival rate. The Luciferian imagery kept circulating after his death. It became a literary and persecutory trope, and according to Novotny, it helped feed later ideas about the witch's Sabbath. By the early modern period, especially in England, accused witches were sometimes associated with animal familiars, including cats. Cats shared that role with plenty of other animals, but the demonic cat had long since escaped the specific circumstances that put it into Vox and Rama. Conrad was gone. The image wasn't. Oh, the black cat's back. Don't worry about him. He's been showing up a lot lately. So more than a century later, the Black Death reached Europe around 1347. And by then, all the ingredients existed for a beautifully simple explanation. In the later version, Gregory's demonic cat becomes a declaration that cats are satanic. Christians kill them. Rats lose a predator and multiply. Fleas ride the rats. Plague tears through Europe. Humanity destroys the animal that might have protected it, and nature supplies the punishment. Setup, consequence, irony. It behaves like a fable, but the historical record never gives us the bridge between those events. Vox contains no cat extermination order. We don't have solid evidence that it triggered a Europe-wide, decree-driven cat cull. We don't have evidence of a resulting cat shortage that somehow lasted until the Black Death. And the Black Death doesn't reach Europe until roughly 114 years later. That is an unusually long fuse for divine ecological slapstick. The plague itself was caused by Yersinia pestis. That part is established. Exactly how medieval outbreaks spread gets messier. Rats and fleas matter, but the neat version, where infected rats simply take over after the cats disappear, doesn't hold together that cleanly. Other routes of transmission and the movement of plague along trade networks complicate the picture. Even cats refuse to cooperate with the clean version. Cats themselves are highly susceptible to plague and can transmit infection to humans. None of this means rats played no role. It means we don't have the documented chain from papal demon cat to mass cat killing to a century of rats to the Black Death. What we do have is a collection of real things, a real pope, a real document, a real demonic black cat inside that document, real hostility toward cats in parts of European culture, a real plague. Every piece exists. The trouble is the arrows drawn between them. Put those pieces in the right order, and suddenly the unlucky black cat has a wonderfully satisfying origin, much more satisfying than what the historical record actually gives us. Because people couldn't even agree on what black cats meant. In 19th century England, a folklore collection recorded that sailors' wives around Scarborough kept black cats because they were believed to protect their husbands at sea. Then, during the First World War, an English soldier on the Western Front carried a small black cat amulet for protection. That little object still survives in the Science Museum collection. Go back to the cat in Vox and Rama. It's enormous, supernatural, making its way backwards down a statue. It appears inside an accusation meant to prove that hidden evil is real. Centuries later, another black cat is small enough to pin to your clothing and carry toward artillery fire because you hope it'll keep death away. Same animal, opposite job. There probably wasn't one clean moment when the black cat became unlucky. Older symbols accumulated, fears changed, meanings contradicted one another. Centuries of retelling eventually arranged those fragments into a villain, a cause, and an ending that felt deserved. The The cat barely changed. We just kept changing what we needed it to mean. Still curious? Choose another strange thing before the sack opens. Like and subscribe.